Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this next installment of the Northwest Chamber of Commerce Member Interview Studio Sessions. I'm Emily Winters. I'm the Executive Director here at the Northwest Chamber. And joining us today is Tony Carpenter from Securityplus Federal Credit Union. Tony has been hard at work at this new initiative at Securityplus for a little over a year now. I remember when I first met him back in 2019, he was talking about it then. So we're excited to have him here today, learn a little bit more about him and what he does. Tony, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Emily.
Well, we're excited to get started. I see you at a lot of networking events. You're in the chamber, so I'm excited to get to know you a little better today. And we'll get started with our first question.
Okay, great.
So what is it that first got you into the world of finance?
Well, it's funny you ask, Emily, because I never actually saw myself as going into finance, but upon graduating from college, I actually went to ITT Financial Services to my first job after college. And I think I quickly found out ITT was a great place to kind of get your feet wet. Um, I would say that they expose you to a number of different things in terms of customer interaction, in terms of how to, do business development, things of that nature. Um, and one of the other things that they had you doing was collections, which back in the day, it was door-to-door collections. And I quickly realized that that part of the job wasn't for me. Knocking on doors, trying to collect on delinquent payments and things of that nature. So shortly after that, I think that one of the things that I wanted to really do, it was embedded in my head that you want to have experience under your belt. So I probably spent maybe 6 months with ITT Financial Services and then went into banking, and primarily because back then it was so many different banks that you could choose from, before all of the big banks merged. So I think choosing an opportunity to be in banking with a lot of different areas that you could go into is how I got started. And I would say that I went into First National Bank, which has been years since they've been around. They had a management trainee program. And I went into that program, and I've been in banking for 25, 30 years ever since. So that's pretty much how I got started.
And what a journey too. I mean, leading you to this point, it's a lot of buildup, it's a lot of experience and all of that to have under your belt. So that is great. It's a great journey.
Thank you.
And what is it that you love most about your field? I mean, every time you talk about Securityplus, I remember back in the OMBG group, you were just very passionate about it and excited. So what do you love most?
Well, I think I've worked on both ends, and I'm not bashing banks. I'm not promoting credit unions or vice versa. I just think that credit unions have a tendency to be there for their members. Um, and I think being a part of both, I've had good experiences with commercial banks, with credit unions, but credit unions typically are there for the members. The fee structure is a lot different in terms of we're not for profit, but we want to make a profit. So basically, a lot of the monies are reinvested into the membership and the process. So I think one of the things that I would say that I really enjoy about um, my job is helping people. And since I am, the primary person, or I'm heading up the business services area, it's very important for me to help individuals to realize their goal and to attain their goal. And a lot of times, small businesses need that extra push, or they need that extra help. We have a tendency to, in addition to have lower fees, higher rates, we try to reach out to our membership and make sure that they have those things that they need so that they can so their business can flourish. If it happens to be a line of credit or a credit card or something like that, those are things that I really enjoy about my job. Seeing people light up when they're approved, because they have a loan, they know that they can continue to do what they want to do or expand in this particular area. So I think helping and assisting people is very important to me.
I love that. That's great. And an important time too, to be there for the businesses and to be able to help them along this journey. I'm sure that's very, that's a good feeling. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, being a part of these exciting times in the lives of business owners and people just trying to focus on those dreams, has there been a favorite moment in your career so far?
Um, Favorite moment, I would probably have to say that, and this is more personal. I think that for me, I'm an entrepreneur, Emily. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but one of the things that I always wanted to do is to, do a good job for the company I worked for. But I'm also an entrepreneur, so I kind of stayed away from some of the opportunities that may have otherwise been afforded me. And with that in mind, um, I think with titles come more responsibilities. So I kind of stayed away from some of the opportunities in my 25, 30 year, you know, uh, tenure within banking. So what I'm getting to is when I was promoted to VP, it was kind of surprising because even though I felt like I was doing a good job in my area, I wasn't looking or title chasing or looking to move up the corporate ladder because of my other interests within, my outside businesses, which I had two at the time, and just focusing on doing a good job for the institution I was working for, the financial institution I was working for. So I think one of the favorite times, I think we all want to be recognized. We all want to be identified as someone who, affects the bottom line. And when I was promoted to VP, I think that was probably one of the things that I can, put my finger on.
Love that. That's great. And congratulations. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with while being an entrepreneur and wanting to do a good job there. So that's a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Now, any funny or interesting experiences to share? I'm sure that over the years in this business, you have seen it all and it's ever changing. So anything of interest?
Well, when you mentioned that, a couple of things came to mind, but I guess the one I'll share is, and I don't know how interesting it is, but it was interesting to me because one of the branches when I was going through, um, I guess as a management trainee, we would go to different branches within our region. And I was at the Inner Harbor branch, which was across from the World Trade Center. And I actually, worked at both of the branches, but this was First National Bank again years ago. And we would have certain athletes that, had relationships with the bank at that time. And I think Cal Ripken had a relationship. I think Brady Anderson had a relationship, and some of the other players, had a relationship. And I had one of my tellers, I was managing one of the offices down there, and sometimes they wouldn't come in, but they would have like a proxy come in for them and basically come in to do their transactions. And she wasn't familiar because she was a relatively new teller. And I mean, here's Brady Anderson. He came in with tons of money with us. This is the year he hit 50 home runs and signed this big contract and things of that nature. So I believe when he came in, he said, wait, his proxy came in, and this person um, didn't want to do the transaction. I mean, she was following training, but instead of, speaking with us in management to find out if this was okay, she turned him away. So we had to deal with that situation. So one of the things that I recall is just some of the athletes coming in, some of the interaction that they had with with the staff there, and this one particular situation kind of stood out to me because I just thought it was funny. But again, she wasn't a fan. She was doing her job, but at the same time, she turned away, one of the top players at the time, on the Warriors. So that's just one of the things I do remember.
That is an interesting one. I think that is a top interesting one, and surely something that will stick with you and probably her forever to look back on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, how about a favorite word or phrase you may have, either for you or for your team, that you like to live or work by?
I would have to say for me in my industry, and I don't want to steal this from Jack, but I would say yes, because when we're able to help someone to realize again their goal, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. If I can tell someone yes, if I can tell someone that they are approved for lending, you can just kind of see how that will transform someone realizing that, hey, it could be a situation where they really needed this loan for their business to flourish. They needed this loan to, I guess, expand. So I think when I can tell someone yes, when I can tell someone that their request has been approved, so that's the one word or the two words that I kind of look forward to telling my clients so that they're able to realize their dream and continue on the path that they've chosen.
It's a great answer and a good word to live by too. Now, how about a favorite sound or noise, like music or anything you enjoy listening to or that relaxes you?
Well, I mean, I do love my music. I like to sit back and listen to jazz. It kind of relaxes me. But the noise that I like to hear from an individual is laughter. So I believe laughter is therapeutic, and it also kind of transcends into someone is happy about something. Someone is excited about news that you gave to them. So I think I like to hear laughter. It's infectious. You know, you laugh, I laugh. It's kind of something that two people will do or a number of people will do together in unison, and it just kind of means that there's a good time. So what I really like to hear is laughter.
I love that. Both great answers. I will tell you, I just got back from New Orleans for the first time, so I'm in such a jazz mood.
Is that right? Okay.
It was just great music to listen to. It
Mhm.
does definitely relax you. And then on the laughter bit, we just talked about this in another networking group, but having that connection with somebody when you laugh too is great.
Right.
And being in a business where you're dealing with relationships, that's so important.
It really is. And even with coworkers, I mean, sometimes if I need a break, I may walk away and I have a friend of mine who's the operations manager. Sometimes it just helps, it's just therapeutic to
Yeah.
kind of unwind and just, you know, laugh and just have a good time. I think that that's so important.
Yeah, it is. Helps the day and yeah, gets you through the day.
Absolutely.
Now, a big question that we have here at the Chamber is, we know each other with what we do now, right?
Mhm.
So learning about your past and learning about your passions, but what profession other than your own would you have liked to attempt or would still like to attempt at some point in your life?
I would have to say that of a lawyer. And I'll tell you why, because I've been told I have the gift of gab. I've been told that I could be long-winded, so um, I think it would be exciting. I'm a big TV buff. I like to watch, the lawyer shows, and sometimes I can see myself, speaking to the jury, trying to give a compelling argument that could potentially exonerate someone, from a wrongdoing. Now, the one disclaimer I have to that is I don't know how well I would do because lawyers are in a situation where you have to defend you whether you're guilty or innocent. Um, my one disclaimer would be if I felt that my client was innocent of a wrongdoing and I could deliver a compelling argument to help exonerate them, I think that would be exciting. So I think the one area that I'd be interested in would be that of a trial attorney or lawyer.
That's a great answer and a good reason behind it. And then, of course, the most important question that we have here, what is the one business lesson that you wish you would have known prior to starting your career?
Um, I would have to say persistence. And I say that because in my career, which kind of expands, I shared 25, 30 years in this particular industry. I know that there have been opportunities that have been afforded me where I accepted what was offered to me. And what I mean by that is could be a salary, could be a territory. I think my lessons that I've learned over time that I wish I knew then would be just to be persistent, to kind of stick to your guns and make sure that what it is that you're looking for, you get it or you come close to it. Because my thought process was, okay, well, I'm being offered the opportunity. So once I get the opportunity, now I'll show them my worth. I will be able to substantiate why I feel like if it's salary wise, I should, be at this particular salary. If it happens to be location, I should be at this particular location. I think a lot of times we're so happy that we get the job or we get the opportunity that we don't stick to our guns. Like all of us have a plan. Sometimes we'll deviate from that plan because we're just so happy that we got a part of what we're looking for. So I think persistence enters the equation when I think about just sticking to my guns, and not that I wouldn't take it, but coming back to say, you know what, I'm very interested. If there's no other opportunity, I take this. If it's, again, monetary, then I can look at it and say, okay, well, I was hoping to be here, but is there any way that we can kind of negotiate this? Those things weren't done when I was coming out of school, and I just didn't feel like being as persistent and sticking to what I was really looking for was something that I incorporated. I do now at a later time in my life, but that's one of the life lessons I think I would have incorporated early on. And maybe in a different situation, but at the same time, I would have to say persistence.
It is very relatable, and it's a great lesson to learn at any point in your career and something to stick with. And you're right. I mean, I think people are just so excited to get the job and get in there, and then you start thinking of these things, and you don't know if you should speak up about it or not. But that persistence is key. That's a great answer.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, Tony. It was really special to get to know you today. I know I will see you at more networking events. I hope you can come out and join us. And if you're watching today and your small business or business needs some help with a local credit union, please visit Tony at Securityplus. They're local, they're great, and they're super helpful. So please make sure you reach out to him.
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. And thank you for being such a gracious host.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
All right. You have a great one.
You too.
Okay. I'll see you soon.